two teenagers were shot and killed in broad daylight yesterday near a high school in Etobicoke.
Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a school in the West End by the name of Don Bosco Catholic School. Now, this school is a known school, not because of just crime and problems that happen with the school, but the mayor, Rob Ford, or the previous mayor, I should say, rest in peace, Rob Ford used to coach there back in the day. And it's right in front of a building, 2063 and 2067 Islington Avenue. Now, supposedly from the people them that's around that area, they say they call it Hizzy. Now, I'm from Scarborough, so I don't know too much about the West, but I know a couple people, couple family member that live in that same building, and they still live there to this day. But it's a very troubling building. It's always in some type of crime. It's plagued with crime. And from 2014 to 2018 alone, there was five people that got killed by shooting. So they were shot and killed in that, and I guess that's a short amount of time for so much people, but not really, but whatever. That's besides the point. The building's always in crime. And that's where many of the students that went to Don Bosco live. It's gonna make more sense when I'm referencing this building so much in a few seconds when we get more into the podcast. But I want to talk about something that happened with the students that went to Don Bosco. In late 2014, some students had a beef, right? That started on Twitter. And we all know how high school beef is, words get fling back and forth, blah, blah, blah. But it was just a local small thing. And they planned a fight for October 14th, 2014. And they planned this fight to happen during lunch. But we all know how high school fights are. There's bare people, the whole school comes out. So it started on the school property, but it was too many people. So they decided to move to the buildings across the road, 2063 and 2067 Islington. Remember, I was telling you guys it's going to make sense soon because a lot of the picnic them lived in that building that went to this school. So when they said they're going to go fight, it's literally right across the street, like right across the street. There's just a local road, and on each opposite side of the road is a building and the school. So it would have took them not even 2 minutes, not even a minute probably, to get over there. So they continued to go, and they went over to the back of the building where there's a little grass part. And in that part is where they started to fight, right? And now remember, there's many bystanders that just came to watch the fight. Not necessarily was everybody that was there was fighting, but they were just watching the fight. And at some point, a 16-year-old boy, and we're going to call this boy Jaga. Jaga came downstairs with a gun and was saying, yo, you guys move off of my block or else I'm going to blast all of you guys. Now, that's not his exact words, but he said something along those lines from what witnesses said later on about the whole story. Now, the man tried to shoot after the crowd of people, but the gun jammed. The gun never bust. So Jaga ran upstairs, right? And shortly after he went back inside, a man came downstairs. Now, this man came with a gun and just started to rinse out the crowd. The man just started shooting up the crowd with all the people that was in there fighting and all the people that were standing up bystanding, just watching the fight happen. A 15-year-old and a 17-year-old, there were two boys were shot and killed, and they were bystanders. They had nothing to do with the fight. One of them went to a different school. One of them didn't even go to the Don Bosco, but supposedly the school that he went to was right around the corner, and I guess they all share a lunchtime. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how he was around there at that time, hearing about the fight that started on Twitter. Now, I don't know if the fight had something to do with a next person that came from the other Catholic school versus a person that was at Don Bosco, but we know that those two schools were involved because one kid that died went to the other Catholic school and one kid went to Don Bosco. So the man who shot up the police and killed the two boy them was not the same 16-year-old that came downstairs the first time. And I'm going to get into my thoughts about this whole part right here later on in the podcast, but I want to play you guys a news article, and in this news article it's going to explain the situation a little more, and it's going to get into a few things, and I'll be back with my thoughts about this story.
The hunt continues for suspects this morning after two teenagers were shot and killed in broad daylight yesterday near a high school in Etobicoke. Cam Woolley is live on location and joins us now with more from Islington and Dixon. Good morning, Cam.
Morning, George. We're at the rear of the School of Experimental Education, and the camera's looking to the west. Behind you see some apartment buildings. I'm just going to step off and show you what's going on here right now. 23 division officers remain guarding the scene here. Forensics officers tell me they're just finishing processing the scene here. The actual shooting was just between the school and the apartment buildings near those trees. Officers say they're going to do a final sweep of this area for any possible physical evidence. At this point, they feel they have got it all. This is just for safety. They'll do the final sweep, and they are expecting that all this crime scene tape will be down likely before the students arrive for school. Now, yesterday, police did take into custody one person they described as a person of interest for investigative detention. We're awaiting an update from homicide to find out whether that person turned out to be a witness or indeed a suspect. And of the deceased, so far all we know is one 15-year-old who's a student at McGuigan. Second person is also a student, but we haven't got confirmation on an age or what school yet. The investigation continues. Back to you.
We now know the name of both teens killed in yesterday's shooting in Etobicoke. Friends and students say 15-year-old Michael Menjivar is one of the boys shot and killed. He was a student at James Cardinal McGuigan Catholic School near Finch and Kiel. And friends say and family say 17-year-old Zaid Yusuf, who was a student at Don Bosco, also died in yesterday's double shooting near Islington and Dixon. His mother says he was a great kid and she is devastated over his death.
The police, he told me after my son, he got hurt, he ran away, then that's it.
And he's a good boy, isn't he?
Believe me, he's a good boy. He told me, Mommy, tell me, what's make you happy? Just tell me.
Yes, sir. You guys heard that just now. And the school actually closed down in 2017. The school's not a functioning school as of right now. But one thing, like I said before the news article, that I wanted to go over was who was these people that came downstairs? Because to this day, the second man who actually killed the boy them has never been identified. But I wanted to know why they were so pressed that there was a couple high school picnic fighting at the bottom of the building. Now, people have their blocks and people watch the block and do whatever. But I don't think most of the time people would be bothered if a couple picnic from cross the road at the local school came across to come fight. Now, like I said, many of the picnic them that was in that crowd go to that school, live there in that building. If it's either 63 or 67, they live in that building. And what was the problem? What was so severe that made you come downstairs the first time? That 16-year-old boy, see you want to shoot up the place or tell them to move from here, else you're gonna blow up, you're gonna blast them. I believe that's the words he said here. I'm gonna blast them. And the gun don't shoot. You go back upstairs. Who was that came back down? There's nothing that says that the people are related, that they even know each other. But like I said, that second person that came down and did the do to this day has not been identified. And next thing I wanted to talk about was just being at the wrong place at the wrong time. None of those boys woke up that morning thinking that was going to be their last day. And when they go just as a bystander, you just go to go watch a fight, you would never expect that, not even nothing to do with the fight. From what I know from my research, the people that came downstairs, it's not like their cousin or their sis was getting beat up and they came downstairs and started to do that. And he had to run back upstairs because whatever and got like his uncle, his older brother. It's nothing like that we know of. All we really know is that it was a man that just came downstairs, seen the fight, started to yell whatever, went back upstairs, and the next man came and shot them up. So there's a lot of questions with this. Now, this happened back in 2014, which is 10 years ago now. Can you believe that? And there still isn't, from what I can find, any explanation to why this happened. It just sounds like a big loss of life for no reason. Now, you guys know I don't like to call names on my podcast or go into the whole trial and situations and all these things. But this didn't even have a trial because they don't know who's the man who shot the youths and killed them, right? But You guys let me know what you think about this situation. Let me know if there was nothing I was leaving out. Let me know if you went to Don Bosco and if you know more about this situation, more about the fight. From what I can find, I couldn't find much about the fight other than the fight was on Twitter. I couldn't find the people that was who was fighting. And let me know if there's any relation to the people that were fighting to the people that came downstairs and shot up the police. I don't know, bro. This is the next crazy story, but you guys let me know, and you don't know till next time on Talk the Things podcast.